37 seconds, someone is arrested for possession of marijuana. Since 2010, state and local police have arrested an estimated 7.3 million Americans for violating marijuana laws, over half of all drug arrests. Black people are 4 times more likely to be arrested for marijuana laws than white people. States waste $3.7 billion enforcing marijuana laws every year. Most of the people police are arresting aren't dealers, but rather people with small amounts of pot, just like me. I'm Gary Chambers, and I'm running for the U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
So that is Gary Chambers, friend of the show, co-hosted a number of times. And JR, I understand that I am just a human. I am fallible, clearly, and I can be consumed by hope. But is that not one of the best political ads you've ever seen in your entire goddamn life?
This is what I'm talking about. Okay, we talk transformative figures. We talk about people who changed the game and come in as an outsider and done the right thing. This is the epitome of that. This is what we're supposed to be looking for when you look for candidates that are looking to represent the people. So it's we see these ads all the time with machine guns, flamethrowers, bombs, blowing up Priuses, shooting up the bill. I'm gonna shoot this bill because I'm a smart guy. No, but we don't sit back. Yeah, we don't get startled and go, he's holding an AK-47. Oh my gosh, she just shot a rocket launcher at that car. This is outrageous and violent. That's normal because it's been normalized since the beginning. We haven't, what we've normalized with things like smoking weed, in this particular case, a fat blunt on an ad, is that scary. Oh my God, and a black guy doing it too. This is even scarier because when my 16-year-old white kid does it, that's wonderful. He's just relaxing because he's had a tough day of lacrosse. So in this case, if you see the connection, he knows what the stereotype look is that people are afraid of. A black guy smoking some weed, and what's he gonna do next? He's gonna run for Congress. He's gonna say something that you don't know and give you some details and background about what you don't know, as he did before. This is what he does. He gets your attention and he educates you.
Yep, it is very scary. I noticed he's black, and that scares me deeply. And then I saw that he was doing drugs, and that scares me more than if he were literally firing a rocket launcher at my house. And then on top of that, he was saying facts that are true and that reveal how messed up and inequitable our system is. And he's describing actual structural racism.
Crazy.
That's not just historic, but is still true. And so I am terrified of this right now. Now, I wanna give you a little bit of information. It's called 37 Seconds. He tweeted about it. He says, I hope this ad works to not only destigmatize the use of marijuana, but also forces a new conversation that creates the pathway to legalize this beneficial drug and forgive those who are arrested due to outdated ideology. This is one of my favorite graphics ever. I'm gonna read this. This is a quote from Rolling Stone. Chambers' spokesperson, Randy Jones, confirmed the blunt in the video was in fact real. And that's Chambers doing his own stunts. There's no stuntman, there's no CGI. It was real, and he smoked. He did inhale. Anyway,
there was Think about how far we've come. Look, we've seen all these other politicians that admitted way later, oh yeah, a joint touched my lips when I was 21, but I was in college, and I was being smart. I was still pursuing my presidential aspirations when I was 18 years old. Sure. But I was just smoking with some friends, and it just touched. Now this is for real. This is real life. This is people who have actually done this before, which is tons of people. So this is relatable, as much as they don't want to point it out. This is relatable, and the facts behind this relatable scene you're seeing here. That's the startling part. That's what we should be paying attention to and say, wow, really? We need to do something about this.
Exactly. So let me give you the information about what's actually going on in Louisiana, where he's running for Senate. On January 1st, smokable medical marijuana became legal in Louisiana under certain conditions. Last year, a Louisiana law decriminalized the possession of up to 14 grams of marijuana. The fine is now $100 or less and no jail time. Also last year, the New Orleans City Council pardoned 10,000 cases of marijuana possession for anyone convicted after 2010. So Louisiana, like a lot of states in this country, seems to be moving in the right direction on this. By the way, like that video is everywhere, all over Reddit, because the image, he's smoking. It's controversial, except it's not, except in the media. it's not controversial, except that it is in a very weird way. It was on, people are saying it was on Colbert last night. I'm gonna have to see that. I love the idea of like a friend of the show being talked about on Colbert. A Pew Research Center survey in April found 91% of Americans believe marijuana should be legalized. 60% said for both recreational and medicinal usage. And I'm just gonna say this, and maybe this is my attempt to push the over window on this like 2 more inches. In the past, we've made these big distinctions between recreational and medicinal use. I'm gonna say, let's get rid of that. If you think it can be used medicinally, then just let people use it. Imagine making beer only available for medicinal use. What kind of actual logical argument is there for that anymore? All it was ever for, let's be real, was to just get people to be acceptable with it. And I get that strategically. Let's dispense with that. It is no more dangerous, and I would say far less debilitative, like it'll knock you out less than alcohol. That is indisputable, and almost nobody in America disputes it anymore. So can we stop pretending that this is so controversial?
You know what we see? You know what we've glorified? We've glorified tailgating. We've glorified people going to college and pro football games and any kind of sport and sitting out in the parking lot and drinking until they can't stand up anymore. Bill's Mafia, they have fun diving off the top of cars through WWE style tables and hurting themselves, throwing each other on the ground. And you know what they're doing that whole time? They're drinking and probably smoking too, but they're definitely drinking. Is that scary? Someone could get hurt. What if a member of the Dolphins fan base walks by when they're playing a game? They might get mad because they're drunk. You know, when people are drunk, they get angry. When they get angry, they start fights. We see it at every sporting event. But you know what you can buy at every sporting event? A $18 beer.
And so, by the way, I'm not under any illusions. A blunt is going to cost $50 at a stadium, but let's do it. Come on. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.